What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Bound by Books. Love stories beyond the pages, where the stories get steamy, the conversations get real, and yeah, we're definitely going beyond the pages. Welcome, everyone, to the first episode, and I am super stoked to be doing this. I'm your host, DeeJay, and today's episode, we're not going to dive deep into any specific book or tropes. This one's about the origin story, actually, the group that started all of this, and the creator who brought this chaos together, Sydney. But first, a quick heads up. Listener discretion is advised. This podcast contains adult themes and is intended for listeners 18 years of age or older. And yeah, I don't feel like I should have to say this, but the legal stuff. The content shared on Bound by Books Love Stories Beyond the Pages is for informational and entertainment purposes only and does not constitute medical, psychological, legal, or professional advice. Always consult with a qualified professional regarding your specific situation. By listening to this podcast, you acknowledge that the hosts, guests, and producers are not liable for any actions taken based on the information discussed. Listener discretion and personal responsibility are advised. All right, now that we got all that out of the way, let's talk about me for a minute.
Let's talk about you for a minute.
Yeah, let's talk about me. So I was never really a big reader up until recently. Couldn't read without falling asleep. Meanwhile, the wife constantly nose deep in books. One day I was like, what's so good about these books she's reading? Somebody hooked me up to Lights Out by Vanessa Allen, and I was hooked. I then finished that book and reached out to Sydney, and I was like, all right, what's my next book? And she said, you should try the Ruinous Love trilogy. My next read was Butcher and Blackbird, and that's when it clicked. This was awesome. I also...
You gotta disclose that you are basically strictly an audiobooker, so you do like to listen.
Well, isn't that the same thing?
I will testify that audiobookers are readers also. I don't care
Okay.
what anybody says. But you are an audiobooker. You don't put your hand to
Okay.
page. And
Okay. I'm an
don't.
audiobooker, guys. But when I started reading this, and Sydney can attest to this, I found out that I had some kinks of my own that I had no idea about. More specifically, a possession kink. I started talking to Sydney, and she educated me. When the wife found out I was reading and what I was reading, she was shocked. But what was even better was when I finally got to tell her about the cookies and cream part of Butcher and Blackbird.
And your wife is a very like romancy fantasy one, so it's a big difference.
Yes, yes. Up until recently, though, like we'll say,
I'm excited for her.
yeah, I don't think she's gonna stick with it though.
I know she's not, but I'm really excited that she dipped her toes in the water.
All right, so now that we know a little bit about me, let's talk about you, Sydney. Why don't you give everybody a little introduction of yourself?
Sydney. Not really much to tell about April last year. Decided I needed more people that I could yell about books to. So decided to create a Discord. Well, actually, you can attest to this. It was a trial and error of different types of ways to get this group together. People didn't have certain social medias, so we went to the texting route, and then somebody had an Android with iPhones, and it was a whole disaster. So I was just said, I'm just gonna make a Discord. Everybody can figure it out from there. And you were like one of the first people. Yeah, you were one of the first ones in the group.
I think it was who? Me, you.
It was me, you, Nadine, or Nikki. There was a couple others. There's the other girl that I originally started with, Jessica. She is one of my long distance friends. She's in Orlando, and I threw the idea to her, and she's like, I'm down because my local book club doesn't give you an optional read. Like, you don't have to read something monthly. And I was like, I don't want to be a part of a book club where you have to because I'm not going to like everything that they put out there. And
Yeah,
my life is too dang short to read something I don't want to read.
I agree with that.
So, I mean, that's basically how we started it. We've been in it for the long haul.
Yeah. What are we coming up on a year, right?
Yep, April 1st. And weirdly enough, I don't know why I started on April Fool's Day, but that's
Dang.
the day that I mean, it kind of makes sense though. If you think about it now, we are super unhinged and kind of feral. So
Yeah.
makes
I will
sense to
say
have
that's
on a
I will
novel.
say that's the best thing about this is the group of people that we have.
Yeah, we
You
have a
have
good
some
time.
you have some who are reserved. You have the unhinged people like me, you, and a few others. And then,
I don't
you
have a filter.
have the people that are in the middle. They're still trying to figure out if they're the, calm type or if they're the unhinged type.
We welcome them all. I approve of lurkers if lurkers want to just pal around and see
And
the.
it's not just romance books either though, right?
So I have some people in here and there that read like French novels. We have people that read original American literature from like Orwell to what uh there's another one. I just can't think of who had it. But we
Girl,
also have
I
like, sci-fi. We have people who read fantasy, romantasy, um, dystopian reads, thrillers, horrors. I mean, like you name it. There's everybody in there. It's not for one specific genre of people.
yeah. So Sydney, me and you've known each other what, 10 years, 11 years,
Um,
almost.
yeah.
And just when I think I got you figured out, you come out of left field with something wild. So,
Yeah, I gotta right hook you sometimes.
so the interesting part about this episode is I just wanted to get everybody to know who you were. And, one of the big things that we're going to be doing amongst this podcast is allowing people to,
Talk about their
talk
BDSM relation
exactly.
to
And
their
if they have any
self.
questions about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm very wellly known as a brat through and
Yes.
through.
Yes.
To anybody, I will bully any person out there. But I am,
Include me.
yeah, I am a submissive, and I've been into the BDSM community for probably 15 years, if not a little bit longer. So I'm pretty well versed in a lot of stuff, just not everything. And I don't hold myself as a resident expert of BDSM. It's always trial and error. And
Right.
it varies for each person individually.
So, like I said, one of the biggest things we're going to do is let people, write in or, even join us to ask questions while we talk about some of the books and how, the things that are going on in the books can relate to real life. So, I want people to understand who you are, and maybe I can key in on some of these questions too.
Yeah.
But one of my biggest one is, what was your very first spicy read book?
When I decided to pick back up into reading, I actually started with contemporary. Honestly, it was I did a like an office work romance one that was like mild into some like BDSM and stuff like that. A lot of praise because praise has been around forever. But it was I can't even remember what it is, but it was a contemporary. My first like darker read was Blackwood, and I will hands down recommend that to anybody. It has primal in it. It has like rope play in it. It's a wonderful book. But so first read getting back into it was a contemporary. It wasn't even anything super dark, but I read just about everything. So
So for people that are just now even, thinking about getting into this, what is contemporary? Because you got me lost over here.
so I mean it's more of your like basic romance. So it's nothing like hot and steamy. There's not a lot of dark like tropes to it. There's not a lot of there's probably hardly any trigger warnings. Um Honestly, I've tried to probably get you into some and you've said no. So
Probably.
that's I don't think that I can really explain it in a way that'll keep you captivated.
Well, like I've told you, like if my book doesn't have trigger warnings in it, then I'm good.
I mean, same. But I don't read my trigger warnings, so I kind of go into books blind.
I just look to see if there's a trigger warning list. I don't care what they are.
Yeah, I go in blind, man. I don't check them. I don't know if there's any in there. I don't even half the time don't even know a backstory into it. I'll see a freaking quote and I'm like, bet that sounds great.
So you said that when you got back into reading. So how old were you when that happened?
It was like 4 years ago. I had just gotten out of
Wow,
a yeah, I got out of the relationship with my ex after that
that's right. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, that tumultuous stuff. And I needed something just to like because I don't hang out with a lot of people. I'm not a really like I may be a Gemini, but I'm not like super social with a lot of people. Um, so
truth.
I when I decided to start reading just to take like move my time around instead of just, watching TV and stuff like that. So it was only about 4 years ago that I started. 4 or 5 years.
So I mean, kind of digging a little bit deeper into that, not with too much detail though, but so what drew you to that dark romance and stuff like that coming out of that relationship?
Um, I've always been a sucker for anything unhinged, pitch black, or morally gray. It doesn't matter if it's a movie, whatever the case may be. The darker, the better for me. It's one of my favorite kind of genres. It's just dark movies, dark romances, anything like that. I'm a sucker for. The relationship wise, there's a lot of stuff that happened in my past that I think dark romance can help people who went through certain stuff like cope.
Right,
So I think that was a big factor in it of why I jumped back into that one. Because the first longest dark reads that are like dark romance that I read that wasn't like 20 pages and under was um All He'll Ever Be by Willa Winters, and it is a Beauty and the Beast retelling where she's mafia or he's mafia and she basically or yeah, it's like an arranged marriage. And that one was pretty good. And I was like, hey, I like this. We're gonna keep finding books like this and see how far we can take it.
okay. So I guess it's safe to say that prior to the ending of that relationship and getting into the world of the spicy romance and all that stuff, did you still have the BDSM mindset that you have now, or did the end of that relationship open up that world to you?
I can honestly say that like I have always been interested in the BDSM side of stuff since like I'm not gonna say younger than 18, but 18 and a little bit older.
Yes, let's please stay on the safe side.
18 and a little bit older, but I don't think I fully got into it. I fully got into it before like when I was 19, when I started learning shibari and rope stuff and learning about like what's the word? Can't think of it. I mean, just like physical restraint stuff. That's when I started fully getting into like learning about it because rope has always fascinated me. And when I was working in my retail setting before I worked with you, um, one of my coworkers, she also did shibari, and we were talking about it, and she was like, "Come over, I'll tie you up." And I was like, "Bet, let's do this." And I went over, and she like showed me the ins and outs of it, and like before that, I was already interested, and she just like sparked it, and she knows she did. So I think that was about 10 years now that I've
So
been doing
that so that would
it.
so that would probably be the moment that flipped the switch for you.
Well, into shibari, yes, but
Okay.
there was other stuff that happened before I was like I'm not going to say under 18, but before. And I think that just kind of solidified that there was a little bit messed up in my head that I liked kind of weird things. And the shibari was definitely a okay, I definitely like to be restrained. This is fun. This has potential. And then
And it escalated from there.
yeah, and my previous relationships, obviously. were not a fan of it.
Right.
They were kind of terrified because a lot of men, I think, feel a little emasculated whenever it comes down to stuff like that. For like somebody finding, an outlet like that.
Well,
Um,
I think from a male perspective of it, it's a lot of men don't know how to deal with that because I mean, if you think about how we're brought up, you don't hit a woman, you don't do this, you don't do that, and that stuff goes completely against all of that. You don't hurt your woman, things like that. So it's kind of it can be a little intimidating, I would say, from a male perspective in
well,
that situation.
yeah, but you're coming from your like southern roots, which I
Yeah.
understand completely, and I respect it completely. So I always do boundaries with anybody. But like some of my previous exes were just along, like literally, I had rope one time, and I was like, "Let's do this," and he was like, "Why? That's dumb. You have me," and I'm like, "What the fuck does that mean?"
What
like,
does that mean?
like I just want to add this. I don't. It's not replacing you. It's a fucking rope.
That's weird, but okay.
So I think there's a lot of like I think some guys get really either turned off by it or unsure about it. Because I mean, me and you've had the conversation. Mine is borderline domestic violence.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like there's a hairline that separates it for how
It's
dark I can go.
consciousness, I think.
Sure, yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah,
100%.
because if you're unconscious, you can't tell them it's consensual.
Not if the unconsciousness was consent in the first place, but
You got to be awake to tell them that, though, too.
not, not
Okay.
necessarily when you have an insomnophilia kink.
Oh my god. All right. So, thinking of all that when you were getting into, this BDSM world, was it intimidating, empowering? Like, how did you feel about it?
Well, I'm kind of like a hyper independent person. You've known me long enough, you
Yeah.
know that it takes a lot for me to one let guards down, to let anybody in. But it also I'm like very self-sufficient as a person, so be trying out the submissive role and going into that and learning that that's something that I like giving the control over to that I don't have to be in my head was it's very empowering for a female that's very hyper independent.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, it wasn't really intimidating. Like I said, I had already been interested in learning about it for so long that I was just always intrigued by it anyway. And I honestly, it's gonna sound kind of crazy, but
Shocker.
I wasn't really intimidated. It was free lifting, but kind of like with the book community, the BDSM community is very open and welcome, like true BDSM community where people genuinely want to help you learn and understand your like understand topics and understand kinks and understand like your triggers can happen and these are your boundaries you need to set and all that stuff. It's sometimes more communal than the book community, if that makes sense. Like they're a little bit more open to helping. There's not a lot of drama. There's not a lot of like, they're wanting to help each other because realistically it comes down to you're keeping somebody safe if you're being able to allow them to talk about what they're going through or if this is good or bad or what should I do if I'm in this situation. How will I know? Because, like with shibari, if you tie ropes a certain way, you're going to hit nerves that can actually, like, completely damage your nerves for a long time, if not, like, completely ruin them.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, like, giving resources is a big thing that you have to learn in the community. And that's why I kind of like the community just as much as the book community, but a little bit more because they're more willing to help out. It's not like a gatekeeping secret like some books are, if that makes sense.
Okay. It does. Um, so you kind of filled us in a little bit about what made you start Bound by Books. Did you expect it to go the way that it has?
No, and also Bound by Books was the funny part about all of this is that that was original members voted name.
Yeah, yeah, it was.
It wasn't even something I came up with. I started the group and I was like, okay, I guess we kind of need a name if we're gonna be a cool club. And we just threw out options. Everybody, you were there. Everybody in the
Yep.
little group threw out options, and I was like, "Here's the top three. You guys vote on them."
And that's what we come up with.
The one that stuck.
So, what has surprised you most about our little community that we have, or cult, I should say, as they love to say?
For legal purposes, I will not. I'm going to tell you, like I tell mom, for legal purposes, I do not claim it as a cult. So, but I guess that's one thing that has surprised me enough. Honestly, the turnaround of that specific titling of this thing has been hilarious. But I don't know. I didn't think that so many people would be so interested.
I'd have to say the thing that surprised me the most was, when we started the Christmas, the Christmas card exchange, and then it went to the, Secret Santa, and then it went to the Valentine's Day, and it's like, okay, so what's the next thing? And it's like, for the Christmas one, there was very few people involved in it.
Yeah, I think there was like 12, maybe 10,
And how many were in the Valentine's?
like right under 20. Like
Yeah,
19 or 20 of them. Something like
and
that.
it grew. That's what has surprised me so much is how fast we have grown.
Yeah, a lot of people are really interested in making some friends. And I mean, it helps when people sell it that, I mean, we are an unhinged community. Like, that's what I tell anybody who's asking about it. We're unhinged and feral little gremlins and book dragons. That's what we are.
Yes.
But, but like, we're not also a traditional book club. We don't have the, like, permanent monthly read. We do optional buddy reads every month now since we started that up in January. So anybody can, if they want to read it, they can. If not, they don't have to. I know it's knocked off a lot of people's TBR lists with the book options that we've been doing, but yeah, it had like that. It is big that it's grown this big, which is crazy to me, and it's not even a year yet.
Do you think it's going to keep growing?
I have a feeling it is.
Um,
You say that, and we just got like three more people that just joined.
what are we actually up to now?
Last I checked, which was yesterday, we were at 220. So
Man,
we're
and we were what? We just hit 200 what last week?
yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. We only have two bots in the group. I only put two in for the reminders and the birthday thing. So realistically, just take two off the list. And those are just regular everyday people that think we're cool enough to be a part of it.
Right? Um, so, kind of going back. So, what trope will always have you in a chokehold?
Oh, any possessive and obsessive
How did
MMC.
I know that?
God, one of my favorites.
How did I know?
I want somebody so unhingedly and borderline stalkishly obsessed with me. I would love that. That would be great.
Kind of like in Lights Out.
Okay, so funny thing about that, my ex's name is Josh, so it's a love-hate relationship with that book
Oh
because
gosh, I
I
can imagine.
love Josh and Lights Out so much.
Yeah, I.
I'm not a big fan of my ex.
What was crazy is, I don't know, kind of we're going off topic here a little bit, but in Caught Up, he to me, I loved him even more in Caught Up.
With his little snippets that he jumps into.
Yes,
Yes. Game On comes out at the end of the month.
I know, I'm excited.
I
That's
know.
why I'm trying to hurry up and finish Haunting Adeline.
Good luck. There's a whole second book.
I know. Well, I if I get done with this book and Game On's come out, I'm just going to go to Game On first.
Put it on hold.
Yeah, I can do that.
I think I love Haunting and Hunting Adeline. I really did. And I know why there's so much hate around the book in the community. I get it. But it is a very good book for a dark romance. It's very dark for somebody who's just getting into dark romance. I would not put that on a list of like your first dark romance reads.
Like my wife.
Yeah, I wouldn't have put that on her. You did that with her.
No, 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 no. I did not. She did that herself. I said that I was going to read that next, and she goes, "Oh, that's on my TBR list." I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah, it's good. It does end up on a cliffhanger. a kind of dark cliffhanger. The second book is kind of darker than the first because of the stuff that happens. So, but it, like I said, it's not a bad book. I don't think your wife should have started off for being just a romantic reader. I don't think that's what she should have jumped into. But she's clearing her TBR, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, I'm trying. Because I'm trying to get to a text message that she sent me. It was so funny because she was like, "Oh, here it is." She's like, "So what I don't understand is why he does this to her when he takes out creeps who do this shit." Now, what she's talking about, I don't know because I'm not that far into it. Like, I love my wife, but I don't think there's an Audible or any kind of book subscription that can stick with her addiction. Is what I'm going to call it. Because she just told me like in the last 2 months she's read or listened to 17 books.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
I did a whole arc read today on one, which was pretty good, but so I get it. I'm in the middle of another arc read. I just started it. So I fully understand. I just did our buddy read for the month. This because I already did Bad Bishop like what, a couple months ago, 3 months ago, 4 months ago.
yeah, like
I did the Devil of Dublin. That one's really good. You actually might like it.
I said, there's so much, and
It's a
are,
never ending TBR list
it
once you
is,
get
it
into a
is.
book
I
for
will
me.
say like anytime I get bored, it's like okay, Sid, what book can I listen to? And you're like this one. All right, cool.
Got a whole, you messaged me the other day or today or whatever it was about the femur book.
Yeah, well, because I thought it was the Adeline books. I could have
No.
swore that y'all told me that's what it was, but because I was talking to the wife about it, and she was like, "Oh no, I don't want." She did say that the part with the pistol though was kind of crazy.
Yeah, that whole book is crazy.
But okay, so back on track. Um, what kink gets misunderstood the most? Do you think?
Consensual non-consent. I think that one in free use probably get very bad reps for. Now, I'm not going to go into every like kink because I don't know every single kink out there. Everybody's making their own kinks too.
Right.
I think the one that like I relate with, and a lot of people are like, "What? Are you okay?" When I say it, is consensual non-consent and free use. I think those are the biggest ones.
Okay. And what is the biggest misconception about spicy readers?
Well, I don't. I think people just think that we read it for the porn, and we don't. A lot of you have to admit, even you
No,
reading it, the plot lines are crazy in some of these books.
I will say like it a lot. Like you said, a lot of people think of it's oh they just read it for the porn, and it's like they're like the plot line and the build up to all that in
Mhm.
most of the books I've read is way more than the actual
Yeah,
sex in the books.
I mean those are always a bonus, but like the plot lines are usually what keeps us around. There's
Absolutely.
there's only a fair few of like people that I know personally that sometimes they just need a good old no plot allspice book. They just need that, and that's
Right.
fine. Go for it if that's what you need. But a lot of people when they read books are reading it for the plot line. Like I know your wife reads romantasy, and I know it's for the plot line because those are a
Absolutely.
lot of character building and world building books.
Gosh.
So you have to know everything about going on with it.
Trust me, because I've tried to jump in the middle of some when she's listening to them around the house, and I'm like, "So is it?" She's like, "No, we're on a totally different book at this point." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Like trying to talk to somebody in the middle of a movie. You don't do that.
Yeah, I've just quit. Like I'm like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." Um, all right. So last little bit here. What would you say to someone who's curious but nervous to explore not just the world of the spicy books and things like that, but also the BDSM world or any of the kink world?
Obviously, do everything that you're comfortable with. Don't do something out of peer pressure because that's what a lot of people do nowadays, and it's a big misconception of BDSM out there. But everything is to me personally. I'm willing to try everything once as long as I like it. Then I can keep going. But um, so like, I mean, the biggest thing is do what you want to do. If you find a book that you're interested in, read it. Give it a shot. Do audiobook because a lot of people don't like to read. Audiobook is just the same. Sometimes you get a better immersive effect out of it. BDSM is the same way. You're not going to know it unless you try it out at least once.
Right. How can couples safely start exploring together?
Communication. Into your first step. And that goes on any kind of relationship, friendship, anything like that. But in the BDSM community, a big thing is communication. If you're in a relationship or trying, even if you're not in a relationship and you're trying to find like a dom or submissive partner or whatever you're looking for in the BDSM community, you always want to put your communication, your boundaries out there and stuff like that out first. Because I mean, it's just like if you're not in a relationship, it's just like you're dating somebody when you go out and try to meet somebody to fill that role in your life. You're going to want to communicate everything you're interested in, wanting to try. If there's any past stuff that could affect the dynamic. So if you had like past sexual assaults or past anything like that, past domestic violence relationships, there's a lot of boundaries that have to be in place. And like a true dom or a true sub that's trying to fill these roles will work with it and work with your boundaries rather than somebody you're just like, I want to try this. And then they're like, okay, let's try. Like that. You're not really, you're putting a lot of trust in somebody that knows nothing about what you're trying to do, if that makes sense.
Okay. This one's going to be a question for both of us because I think we can both kind of give different perspectives. What does living beyond the pages mean to you personally?
Personally, to me, like, I think everybody, when they read a book or listen to a book, they put themselves in that situation. Or I like to say, I like to say that, or you're sitting in a cuck chair watching a show. So when you're reading, it's kind of like a movie's playing out in your head. I think you can agree with that. You
Yep.
kind of see how it plays out. Either you're living that role of the person that's talking, or vice versa, or you're sitting in a chair just watching it play out. Um, so with a lot of stuff that's in the books, clearly a lot of it is illegal activities if you're into dark romances. But there is a lot of heavy BDSM tropes that are in books. So for me, I think Beyond the Pages would definitely be your BDSM tropes, your stuff like that, like the type minor aggressions that most men have that are in the books, those type of stuff.
Uh, yeah, I'd pretty much say the same thing. For me, it's the realizing, that you can relate with them.
The pain
Uh,
stories, yeah.
yeah, it's there. There's a lot of like books that I've listened to, and it's like, man, that yeah, I could see myself doing that. Even with the illegal stuff, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna go out there and do it, but
I'm glad
like
you
some
said that because I wasn't going to say that.
like with some like somebody like in Butcher a Blackbird, the one part where I realized I had what I have was when that dude was watching her and he finally gets a hold Rowan gets a hold of him and has his hand around his throat and he says, that girl you were watching, she's mine. And it's like, yeah, I could see me doing that.
Yeah.
Like let somebody mess with my wife. I yeah, I could be that person if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Oh, all I'm saying is I think everybody has a little bit of it in them.
So, what should listeners expect from not just this podcast, but from the book club in itself, if they do so, choose to join?
I mean, clearly with this podcast, it can be anybody writing in to, as you said, to questions about BDSM. If I know it, I'm willing to answer it or give you perspective or outside resources to where you can learn about it. Um, with a club, I mean, I'm just taking it day by day with that thing, man. I didn't I didn't start it and realize it was gonna be this big. Like I said, I started it and I was like, one of my friends is in Orlando, and I was like, I want a book club where I don't have to read a monthly book because fuck that. And I want to be able to yell and scream about books. And she was like, let's do it. And I was like, bet. Okay, I'm gonna do it. But apparently I make things out of manic episodes. So I made
Yeah,
it.
we figured that out. This is a product of it.
I made it, and I was like, well, what do we do now? So, I mean, the Christmas card exchange came about because I had one of the girls in the group was a little down because she didn't have family around, and I was like, you deserve a Christmas card, you know, like you
I
deserve."
remember that. Yeah.
And then that's how that came about, because I did a poll for it, because I anything in the Discord group that's group related, I try to make every member feel a part of it. Clearly, I go to the mods first and have a rundown with them, talk about it, see how it would play out if we wanted to do it. And then I of course take it to the members, because realistically they're the ones that are technically running the group. Like, granted, we're behind the scenes, but they're the ones that are going to tell me what they want to listen to, or what they want to read, or what activities they want to be a part of. Um so I mean, I'm just taking it day by day, man, with that thing. We are going to do something special for the 1 year. It hasn't been announced yet. We're not announcing it on this, but it
No.
hasn't been announced yet. In the coming weeks, I'm going to end up announcing it, but we're working behind the scenes for that. Um, I mean, every day, taking it day by day, figuring it out month by month.
Yep. I will say, the book club itself, when you come to me about it and was like, hey, do you want to join? I was like, not
You
really.
you specifically said, I don't think I'm allowed because I don't read that many books. And I
Yeah,
was, but you're a guy that reads fucking books.
true.
I was like, I need more men in this group.
It was, and I thoroughly enjoy it. Like, I get upset at myself when I don't look at my Discord because of work or something like that, and we get busy, and it's like I come back on and it's like, oh gosh, I got to try to play catch up with stuff.
Yeah, there's
Or
some days you get like 100 notifications. Yeah, I've been there.
the other day, or the other is like, I truly, try to look out, for everybody in the group.
Mm.
And, though I'm, not close to any of them, it's, hey, you doing okay? Things like that.
Yeah, it's its
Um,
own like sub community in the book club, in the book world, I think is what I like to call it. It's like its own little community, and like a lot of people are very like, you make your friends in there, but you also make your family. Yeah,
yep,
like that makes sense. Like, granted, I know a lot of like a handful of amount, like I've either hung out with in person, went to college with them, knew them
worked with
personally.
them.
Yeah, knew them personally, or some I've met online. Some are wives of my friends. Like it's some most of them are that way, but a lot of them are just, I don't want to say randoms, because I don't consider any of them random. If that makes
No,
sense, like they're
I wouldn't
just
think that.
they're just little newbies.
Yeah. All right, so that's gonna be it for the questions. For now. I do want to thank you, Sydney, for joining us on this, because this was really fun.
You caught me on a day that my insomnia decided to work out for me.
Yes, thank gosh, because we have been trying to do this for what, two
2 weeks.
weeks now, and every time either she falls asleep or I fall asleep. So I'm glad we were able to do this. If today's episode made you blush, rethink a chapter of your own love story, or add a few dangerously good titles to your DVR, go ahead and hit follow, subscribe, and share Bound by Books love stories beyond the pages with someone who can handle a little heat. If you have any questions you want answered, or are curious about a certain spicy topic, feel free to send us an email that'll be in the link, and put the subject line question for podcast. Until next time, keep it curious, keep it bold, and remember, the real magic happens when the story leaves the pages.